Well, the Savannah Riverside has been a huge part of the area for 75 years. Now, most of us simply can't imagine the area without it. But when it was announced the plant would be coming, thousands of people were forced to move from their homes. And today, in our January edition of Hometown History, we take a look at those towns. And News Channel 6's Kim is in the studio. Kim Vickers, tell us a little bit about the town of Ellenton.
Well, Mary, not only do people still talk about the town of Ellenton, there's a reunion held every year for the families that lived there. Ellenton was a tight-knit community, and though there aren't many left alive who lived there, to this day, they still mourn what they lost.
Families began settling in Ellenton in 1873, and in 1880 it was officially incorporated as a town. George Wingard, an SRS historian, says farmers built the town up around a railroad station.
It was an agricultural area. Soybeans, watermelons, cotton, rice, was grown in the area, and so the agriculture was really the main stable for many of the families that lived there.
For 70 years, people lived, worked, and loved in Ellenton. Then in November of 1950, an announcement was made that would change their lives forever. A hydrogen bomb plant was coming. Kelly Brown, director of the Savannah River Site Museum in Aiken, says there were several reasons why President Harry Truman chose that location.
And this area specifically was chosen for several reasons, one of them being that it was close to the Savannah River, which was where they were going to use a lot of water to draw into the reactors. It also was pretty isolated. So by pretty isolated, that means there weren't huge cities nearby, but there were small communities in the area.
All of those communities would need to be evacuated. The people of Ellenton were shocked when they learned that they were going to be forced to move. They were devastated at the news.
Well, as you can probably imagine, if someone told you you needed to pack up and leave the home that you'd been living at for, generations, a lot of people were really upset.
Although they were upset, there was also an undercurrent of something else.
So there was a lot of hurt and anger, but I think also, interestingly, there was an undercurrent of, patriotism. People were like, well, okay, we're going to leave, but, in the end, it's for the good of the country. This is going to help us win the Cold War.
Some gathered in a nearby area and named it New Ellenton. Those families never forgot where they came from.
Those folks still get together just to reminisce about, what was and what could have been.
For much more on the history of Ellenton, including the somewhat scandalous legend of how the town got its name, just head on over to WJBF.com. Hey CSRA, that's just part of your hometown history.